have heard me say before that I think we've had a real narrative that's been quite miserable, actually, about commissioning in the last few years, and perhaps quite so vivid as this quotation from the Health Select Committee's report on commissioning, the one that came out almost a year ago. It said here, weaknesses remain 20 years after the introduction of the purchaser-provider split. Commissioners continue to be passive. When to do their work efficiently, they must insist on quality and challenge the inefficiencies of providers, particularly unevidenced variations in clinical practice. Now, some of us in this room, myself included, Nick Mays, Jennifer Dixon and others, we've been part of creating this somewhat downbeat narrative at times. In 2004, we carried out a big review of the evidence on commissioning and said there is little substantive research evidence to demonstrate that any commissioning approach has made a significant or strategic impact on secondary care services. So just to show that we share some of the guilt. But actually, Nick Mays and a colleague in New Zealand, I think, perhaps got a bit closer to perhaps the heart of the matter in this review of international experience of commissioning that they carried out in 2000, when they said, purchasing health services is inherently difficult in publicly financed health systems. And in the Health Leaders Survey that Jennifer was sharing some of the results of just before coffee, a question, another one that was in the survey, was where you were asked what your views were about whether the purchaser-provider split should be retained or not. And I was interested in the answer to this question, which showed that, you see, broadly 2/3 felt it should be retained. However, there were 29% who felt either strongly or to some extent that it should be abandoned. But clearly there's some ongoing faith, certainly amongst those, some of you in this room, in the idea of a purchaser-provider split. And just before moving on to the questions part of this session, I think the current context does make things more difficult when starting to think how commissioning is going to have to operate in the next while. These are economic hard times, tough funding or rationing decisions will need to be made. Again, we have another session exploring that topic later. We keep asserting the need for more preventative and population health-focused care and less reliance on hospitals, but the Audit Commission and others have shown that we have not done very well in achieving that shift. And we're reorganising commissioning again, as we did in 1999, 2002, 2006, so the fourth major reorganisation in 12 or so years. So questions for us to ponder this morning and more generally about commissioning reforms. We're putting huge faith in GP commissioning, but what will be needed if it's going to work, if these reforms together as an overall set of reforms are going to deliver particularly the efficiency challenge? Also, what will the role of the NHS Commissioning Board be in relation to GP commissioning? What's going to be how's the national-local tension going to play out there? What will be its personality? How's it going to operate? And just not to forget the other commissioners of health, local government, with arguably an increasing role in commissioning now, the people holding personal budgets. And just a final sort of slightly challenging thought here, or is it time to actually move beyond commissioning to something else?